Welcome to the Be Rad podcast. It's Brad Kearns. These are our sponsors. Male Optimization Formula with Organs, Brad's Macadamia Masterpiece, Perfect Keto Ketone Supplements, Carol Fit Stationary Bike, Organifi Superfood, Viore Clothing, and Let's Get Check.com Home Testing. And please visit the BradKearns.com shop page for my personal selection of favorite products for health, fitness, and peak performance with great discount offers. And now here we go with the show, mofo.
I'm not saying you shouldn't look in the bikini if you want to, but really, at our age, we want to be and feel fit, not just look skinny. People think, yeah, but then I've got the kids and I've got this and I've got, okay, let's look at really your schedule, and then we find the mechanics of how it can work. So start looking at what is truly healthy and what our definition will be of that. What is good for your particular body, depending on your issues or medical issues or your weight or whatever it is. And then there's also the emotional aspect. I found out one lady just overate because she lives alone.
Hey, listeners, get ready for a lively conversation with Ronnie Loaiza. She is a health and fitness coach and personal trainer based in Los Angeles, California. She's been rocking the training game in the LA area for a while, and lately transitioning to a more holistic approach to helping people live healthy, happy lifestyles and getting into that coaching aspect. So in this show, we're going to learn a little bit about going beneath the surface to figure out the whys that help people stay accountable to exercise and diet goals rather than just going for the mechanics. And you're going to get word from a person who's out there on the street fighting the battle with real people, leading busy lives, having to deal with the massive life disruption caused by COVID. So we're going to hit that topic pretty hard, and then kind of zero in on some tips and tricks for the female audience, since you hear enough about mofos on my show and optimizing testosterone and aging gracefully as a man. So she's going to hit some of those female tips. Ronnie's 55. She looks and feels great, and the emphasis is on feeling great rather than just looking great. But of course, you're allowed to strive for both. And she's working with people in her peer group with some special considerations, starting with acceptance. That was the first thing she mentioned. And you'll hear her talk further about getting going with some great anti-aging strategies, health, fitness goals. But it starts with just accepting the reality, being happy with yourself, happy with your appearance, and doing things that inform those goals and feelings. And you're going to love it. She's got a lot of energy. We'll go off on a lot of different tangents with a lot of valuable and actionable information, and ending with her description of an event she's putting on that I'm involved with, centered on the topic of intermittent fasting. And I think that's going to provide a lot of helpful insights. So here we go with Ronnie. Ronnie Loaiza, I am so happy to join you. We are on Zoom here, even though we're not too far apart, as I visit Los Angeles, your home base, where you're doing some great things as a health and fitness coach / personal trainer. Important distinction there. And that is a great combo, because we know that trainers can go push you to do another rep in the gym, and that's great. And you're all sweaty and you got your towel and then you head off to Jamba Juice. But when you put that coaching element in and try to get more holistic with your relationship with clients, I think that's why we're seeing real breakthroughs and people on the cutting edge like yourself. So I thought I would bring you on, put you in the hot seat, especially to talk about matters relating to females aging gracefully, because my listeners hear about all the mofo things and the mofo mission and keeping your testosterone high. But of course, we have both sexes trying to live a wonderful, enjoyable life, enjoy each other as one of the objectives. And so, boy, I've teed you up. I'd love for you to just give me an intro about your career track, your business, what you're doing now, and then we'll get into some items of particular interest.
Brad, it's funny. You just, in that whole intro, you hit on three things that I actually was talking to three of my clients this morning. And one of them is breakthrough. It's like, God, I've had such a breakthrough. And that's really why I have been transitioning. And now I'm going full time from a personal trainer. As you said, we count reps. And a good personal trainer is a good personal trainer. And then there's a lot of them that are rep counters. God love them. But this past year, and everybody's got their COVID story, my clients have really turned me into a fitness coach. And what is a coach? As you know, it's different from your referee and it's different from a trainer. Your coach really does dig deep into the reasons you're doing stuff, or if you want to get better, if you're a performance coach, and then they set up a strategy for you. They watch you with a long filter, and they're there because they're invested in you, and they set up the strategies and go through it with you. So they support you, they keep you accountable, and they help you achieve what you want. So they already see, okay, what do you want a year from now for the rest of your life? And then we go from there. But you got to start from the bottom. It's like, okay, what's your real reason for not working out? What's your real reason why you've tried 6 diets and they don't stick or they don't work for you? We find out the reasons, and it's usually very emotional, and there are backstories. Now, I'm not a therapist, as you know, coaches aren't therapists, but we help you really admit to yourself and realize, oh, these are my barriers. These are my obstacles. And then you start finding strategies to get to where you want to be, how you want to feel. How do you want to have more time to go have fun and play and still get everything done? You want to have the energy to do that. That's the result. That's what we want, not the strategies. You can Google strategies till the cows come home. But if you don't have the reason why you want to feel that way, why you want to be fit, it ain't going to work. All the diets in the world work if you do them, but most people don't stick to them because they don't have the right one, or it's just a lot of strategies, and the reason why they want to lose weight or get in better health, they don't really look at that and then go, okay, how do I want to feel it a few months from now? How do I want to feel a year from now? How do I want to be the rest of my life?
Well, you mentioned a couple, I would call them enlightened health and fitness goals. Like I want to have more energy, to have more fun, things like that, which seem to be possibly more powerful than saying I'm invited to the bridesmaid wedding in 4 months and I have to get this ugly fat off my body, right? The completely superficial goals that work for a little bit, it seems. But I think we have to dig deeper and figure out, living a better life, what that really means.
Well, I can tell you, I went through the whole, oh my God, I've been a bridesmaid. I got to fit in that dress. I've been a bride. I got to look hot in that day because somehow we make that the most important day of our lives. And it's not, it's the marriage and the 60 years afterward. But, it goes beyond the honeymoon. So I've done that. I've done that. I am 55 now, going on 56. And I mean, I don't have a rocking body, but I'm fit. I am fit. I am not bulky. I am strong. And, when you get up in the morning and you're 55 and you don't hurt and you don't need a crane to get you out of bed, that is wonderful. When you have arthritis, because I've been diagnosed with arthritis, when you have herniated discs, when you have tendonitis, when you have something wrong with your knee, I had a torn meniscus once. I remembered the exact moment it happened. How? It was 3 years ago. When you have a hip issue, a back issue, whatever, that is more important than looking good in that bikini. I'm not saying you shouldn't look good in the bikini if you want to, but really, at our age, we want to be and feel fit, not just look skinny. And I personally, this is just me, Ronnie. Other people love the word skinny. When somebody goes, well, it's easy for you to say skinny girl. It's like something pings me. It's like, I'm not skinny, I'm strong. And other people love being called skinny. So whatever it is that you want, you got to find out how is it you want to feel. And as you get wiser and older, you realize, I mean, you're an athlete. You realize it's not just about that one race, which it was at the time, or looking good in those shorts. It's about feeling strong and being healthy.
Well said. And you didn't preclude the idea that some of these superficial goals can be really fun. Mark Sisson touts looking good naked is one of the most profound motivators to get there and do the work and make the right dietary choices. But I think if we layer that in with wanting to feel good, wanting to age gracefully, that's when we can hit all of our goals, really. And you're 55. That's amazing. If the viewers on YouTube, she stood up and showed her muscles, and it's like, wow, okay, so she's keeping in shape. People, this is serious. As you know, I'm 56, and I feel like in this age group, we really do face a crossroads where we're going to decide to be part of the pack that ages at an accelerated rate and has a pathetic sort of standard, normal standard to adhere to. Go to our high school reunions and see the people that look 62 and 72 and 42 if they don't do anything about it. But on the other fork on the road, and this is what we're spending our life's work on, obviously, is this incredible potential that is so amazing because it's so different from what our norms and our expectations are. And our norms and expectations are the average American, I think, has 18 prescriptions in the medicine cabinet.
Oh my God.
Things like that are average. And
I was going
so
to guess 8. You're saying 18?
yeah, it's something crazy like that. And, the capability of, let's say, getting the average person, to go run a mile for time, the results would be pathetic. A lot of them might not even finish. But the Cooper Institute anti-aging research says that the mile time at age 50 is their favorite and most profound longevity marker for, probability of living to 80 and beyond in good health. And if you have a decent, respectable time,
Right.
your odds are many, many times greater than someone who can't hit the bare minimum, which for males is 12 minutes, females is 13 minutes for 1 mile all out at age 50. And then superior is 8 minutes for the male and 9 minutes for the female.
You know the push-up one? Is it 50?
Yeah, and
Push up on your toes?
there's correlations if you don't like running, or let's say, but you're a badass cyclist, you can qualify. There's push-ups, there's a squat test, there's fireman research where firefighters who could do fewer than 4 push-ups had, a 6 times increased risk of heart attack than someone who could do more than 40, I think it was.
You're speaking my language. I interviewed 2 gentlemen that were firefighters. Jim Moss and Dan Kerrigan, who wrote this book. It's on Amazon, A Firefighter's Guide to Fitness. Really, it was just a guide because they found out, and this really shocked me. They found out in the past 4 years, well, this is 2020, so now 5 years ago, that the numbers were increasing among firefighters across the United States having cardiac arrest, type 2 diabetes, or some kind of cardio problem. These are firefighters.
They're paid to work out. What's their excuse? Come on.
Well, then I have to pass tests because I'm thinking, like lifeguards. And, when I think of firefighters, I think of the calendars. And so he's like, we spend more time in the firehouse when we're not home. They have to spend time in the firehouse. And what do? We cook, we eat, or people bring us food all the time. It's like, no, firefighters were having PTSD. And a lot of the firefighters' calls aren't necessarily fires, although you have to keep rigorous for that. Most of them, you see a lot of tragedy. You see a lot of accidents. You see a lot of people who need medical help. A lot of those calls aren't fires per se. So anyway, they go through PTSD. And so they have a lot of anxiety. They have a lot of stress. This cortisol or other hormonal problems because they have a stressful life. So firefighters aren't angels. Not all of them were working out. So they wanted to turn that around. So they made this guide so you can work out anywhere, whether you're at home or at the gym or at the firehouse, and how much you should get in. And it's turned into a best-selling book for us normal people. We're not firefighters. And, and like I said, I'm not an athlete. I never was. I was the last one picked for dodgeball or softball. I was the worst at school. And yet, if I went to my high school reunion right now,
they'd order a drink from you.
I'd be one of the best ones in shape because I went through some health issues in my 40s, like, oh, no, what's going on? And I found out I had herniated disc. Well, I have degenerative disc disease, which I found out as you grow older, you're just aging. You're losing the liquid between the vertebrae, to be just very fundamental about it. And I'm like, oh, my God, I've done cardio all my life. Not really, but I was a dancer. And then remember when cardio used to be called aerobics? So I did aerobics and step classes, and I pounded the hell out of my body. I started running because everybody jogged, and I beat up my bones. And so I started losing the liquid between my vertebrae even faster. So long story short, I got into fitness in my 40s, in my mid 40s, being a professional in it, because after decompression, 5 chiropractors, acupuncture, 2 Western medical doctors, and I'm all for Western and Eastern medicine. Okay, everything. But my Western medical doctors just wrote prescriptions. And here you go. I'm like, but is this going to fix the problem? So one chiropractor put me with a corrective exercise specialist, personal trainer. I'm like, a personal trainer, really? And my insurance was paying for it. After 2 weeks of working out correctly, strength training, I didn't hurt anymore.
Wow.
And so working with her, I would read all this stuff and I would talk to her about it. I was so into it because, hey, I didn't hurt anymore. She's like, you need to become a personal trainer. You need to become a personal trainer. I'm like, I'm 45. Like all these 20-year-old kids are personal trainers at my gym. A year later, I woke up one morning, and I'll never forget this. I woke up one morning and I was tired of what I was doing, the 9 to 5, driving in traffic, Los Angeles. Like, what do I want to do the next 20 years of my life? I think I'll become a personal trainer. And everybody was telling me, oh, that test is hard. The one test you chose, don't worry if you fail the first time. It took me 3 times, all this stuff. I'm like, I don't have time for that. I studied audio, while working out, listened to it, because I'm more audio than book. I passed it the first time, and I was among all these 20-year-olds because I figured if I'm healthy and in shape, I don't mean buff, but cut, lean, good vitals, women my age and above will say, well, if it's working for her, I'll trust her. That's really why I thought, okay, I'm going to go more for women's fitness. And I got certified in senior fitness and silver sneakers and all that. Because as I age, I want to be my own walking billboard and be able to relate. So back to what you were saying, you have to find what's right for you, and preventative workouts and fitness. And I know like a lot of the industry doesn't like that. To me, is much better than give me a prescription. Back to the 18 pills. And the push-ups I found was funny. Last year, I could barely do 20 push-ups on my own, on my toes, proper push-ups, not the bad ones where your hands are under your shoulders, but the proper ones where they match your pecs. I could barely do 20, but I thought I was a rock star. So with this whole COVID thing, I'm like, I'm going to get up to the minimum 50. You're in great shape, right? So I would add a push-up every morning, no more. I wouldn't let myself go past there. I can do 150, but I only have time for 100 every morning. So I start with 90. It's like, all right, here's my bonus 10. And if I have time, I'll finish out with maybe some on my knees. But I do the toe ones, 100 every morning, and 150 jumping jacks, and I get on with my day. That's my habit. That's my morning ritual. No matter what. But it's like, you can do it. I was never an athlete. But you can build up to it if you get support and you get help and you do it the right way. So many people don't know how to work out properly. And so many women, like I said, I'm in my 50s, grew up like me doing even Jane Fonda says she shouldn't have done the Jane Fonda. She realized they were bad workouts, but somebody was choreographing them for her. The only things that were safe were the bridges. Everything else was bad for her knees. So, we grew up pounding the pavement and doing these step classes, and we've learned you have to find the proper workout for you, which includes strength training, which includes flexibility, which includes core. Now more people are into Pilates, which is not strength training, by the way. People hate it when I say that, but it's not. It's a different kind of usage of your muscles, which you need. You need it all. And most important, I know I'm rambling on, but the most important thing as we age is to take notice of your hormones. Everybody thinks, well, my metabolism's slowing down. Well, what is metabolism? Metabolism, put an equal sign next to it. It is hormones. Your metabolism is hormones. So you weren't born out of your mother's womb with a set metabolism for the rest of your life. You can boost it at any age, at any fitness level, no matter what your health issues are, no matter what medication you're on. Yes, there are the exceptions. There's certain glands problem, as you know, if you have a certain disease, or if you have type 1 diabetes, or you have a thyroid problem. But as you and I both know, most people don't have a thyroid problem. Most people. You can boost your metabolism. And why is that important? Not just to burn fat. Metabolism regulates your hormones. And that's what you need to start looking at as you get older, past 30, past 40, past 50. I have clients who are in their 60s and 70s who all of a sudden have reversed things, and they're taking fewer medicines and they feel a lot better.
Whew. That's my favorite kind of guest, someone who brings their A game. So go ahead, ramble on. We've hit so many great topics there. And I am curious about the patterns that you see with real people fighting the real battle, especially here in LA where it's so crowded. There's a lot of pressure. It's a rat race mentality. There's a lot of celebrity culture here. So people are fixated on looking hot and getting called skinny. They'd be overjoyed while Ronnie's a little chapped. But what are some of the recurring patterns that make it difficult for people to do the right thing and to stick with something like you described your morning routine?
Well, I'll tell you, the influence is changing. And I use that word purposely because our culture, not just Los Angeles or our country or our world, I'm going to pick up my phone. I'm going to be rude.
Those watching on YouTube, she's holding a smartphone in her hand.
Yeah. Everybody lives on their Instagram. Well, I'll tell you, who are the influencers now? It is not just the models that they used to be, the supermodels. Now it's the Kardashians. Now it's the Kylie Jenners of the world, or Kim Kardashian, or other people, a lot of influencers. So women over 40 and 50 need to get on Instagram, take a selfie of themselves, say, this is a real woman. Go ahead and get naked or get in that bathing suit. Influencers are now becoming more of the older generation because we're real women. I, as a personal trainer, and you might have too at the gym, I see the stars because we run into, actors and actresses and singers and all. We run into them at the gyms. They're in the same locker room. They've got cellulite. They're not perfect. A lot of those pictures are airbrushed. Okay. And they've got their mindsets as well. They've got their gremlins. So I think it's changing. I don't think it's so much. I mean, look at Lizzo. She's a rock star now among people, because not to say it's okay to let yourself go and be overweight. No, Lizzo's got power within her. You know who she is, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's got power within her. Tap into your power and your health. Think of your health, whatever that looks like for you, whatever that feels like for you. You don't have to feel pain. You don't have to feel fatigued. You don't have to feel how you don't want to feel. You can feel how you want to feel. It's achievable. So yeah, there's been a lot. I think there's a movement of image and influence, of who are the influencers now.
So it's not so glitzed up. People are coming back to reality. There's the body positive movement. I'm not sure that's the correct term, but just being okay with the various shapes and sizes that human beings come in. Even Dr. Herman Ponzer, the author of the new book, Burn, he's talking about energy expenditure in the human and offering some breakthrough insights. And he says one of the insights is that there's a tremendous amount of diversity in the Homo sapiens species. So, some people are going to be working out, eating super healthy, feeling great, and looking differently than the leading Instagram influencer or people that are gracing the magazine covers. And I think that's really it's nice to embrace that idea, but I'm also trying to walk on this balanced line between all the mouthing that modern humans do with rationalizations, excuses, justifications. Everything in moderation is one of the quotes that really bothers me, because when we're faced with such unhealthy environment of the food choices, the marketing messaging, the selections in the grocery store, we can't have a moderate approach to health. We have to have an extreme concern for the foods we put in our body, because half the stuff out there is filled with chemicals and poisons and things like that. So, we could take a step back and, kind of sort out it, not feeling inferior to the supermodel, but being the best that we can be individually, and what that really means with the excuses taken away.
You have to be ready. That's the other thing, the difference between my training and my coaching. As a trainer, I can get on them about, okay, why didn't you work out? How I've been turning into coaching is because women were finding it hard, really tough, settling into the COVID thing. All of a sudden they were home. There were no barriers from their bosses, or they were the bosses, so they had to be on everybody's case. Everybody lived on the computer, and there were no time barriers, no boundaries, I should say. Boundaries, not barriers. So they were always on the computer, on the butts, or they felt like they could be, people had access to them all the time. Also, the kids were home, or the husband was home, or the partner was home. So they felt kind of, they didn't want to work out in front of people. They felt self-conscious, or they were settling into having to take care of everything at home. Now things are turning, but people, the reasons for either overeating or emotional eating or not working out, the reasons were changing. They were coming to light. I guess they were surfacing. It's like there are inadequacies. It's like you have no more reason not to have time because you have more time because you're at home. But now then the excuses were like, well, I can't go to the gym or whatever. It's deeper than I don't have time to go to the gym, or I don't have time because of work. There's always a reason that's deeper. And there are strategies to get there. There's always a reason why you're still eating. And over this COVID time, it's like, oh crap, the refrigerator's right there by my office. There's a refrigerator right around, there's no excuse.
That's a legit reason. That change of environment and the more accessibility. What are some other reasons?
A lot of anxiety over COVID. A lot of, okay, wow, what is my life now? And what is my purpose? I know that sounds broad and woo-woo, but let's get a little woo-woo. People had to really see, what do when I grow up? And they started changing, like, okay, I don't have to go to the brick and mortar. Okay, I'm not doing this. What are my priorities? And how do I handle being home all the time? How do I handle either being alone, or how do I handle the whole family's home and working off the dining room table? People's lives really changed. And then there were the whole politics and all this, a lot of tragedy this past year. People were, you know, what happened with Black Lives Matter and people being killed, and race diversity, and we had an election. So all this was going on, mask, not wear a mask. All this was going on. So it was hard to turn around and go, okay, that's happening with the world. I'm going to go work out now,
Ah.
and feel like it's okay. All that's not happening. People
Mm,
were anxious.
mm,
So, a lot of stuff came to surface. There was a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of changing. Anxiety comes with change, and that's normal. So you find a way to deal with it. And I guess that's what turned me more into a coach, because I was listening to a lot of people and seeing what is bothering you. And you dive deeper than that. And then you start. So now people want to really take care of themselves. The whole thing, did you get a lot of this? Take care of your immune system and boost your immune system. I got inundated with these emails this time last year. This can possibly prevent COVID. We're not saying it will, but it could, because it could boost your immune system. It's like, okay, wait, we've been saying these foods are clean for ages. Now you want to know, so just a lot of people's priorities, what they want to do, how they want to be, how they want to feel. They're turning the tide. It's like now we have these new norms, and people want to eat a little cleaner. And I know you think,
mm,
well, all in moderation, but that's a way to start.
mhm,
That's a way to get people on board and say, okay, 80% clean, 20% go ahead and have a beer, or go ahead and have whatever. Have that. I don't eat candy bars, but go ahead and do whatever it is you want to do. That's not that great. Or have, I think of alcohol, although people have more junk. What I really just advocate is like, that doesn't make you fat. Refined sugar does. And how to get away from the process. And I know not everybody can afford or is on board with organic, but as best as you can, try to eat clean, meaning not packaged, not processed, not partially hydrogenated, no sucralose, no fake sugar substitutes. Just eat clean. I'd rather you have real sugar, because that came from a sugar cane, than sucralose. Read the ingredients. People have to, even at this day and age, people are still learning, like, is that really bad for you? Well, yeah, and this is why. There's no coincidence that we have the highest rate of diabetes in the world, and yet we have the most people that have sugar substitutes and have low
mm.
fat foods, you know, and packaged foods. The rest of the world eats a little cleaner for the most part.
Yeah, good point. Starting the process by trying to eat clean is pretty fantastic. It's within reach of everyone. I don't think there's
Yeah.
an affordability issue there either. You can go buy sardines on the food ranking chart very high, and things that are inexpensive, and be a rock star all the way.
Yeah.
So, um, how does that enter in when you're working with a client? You're dealing with a personal meeting to do a workout, and then where does the diet part fit into the picture?
Well, in my coaching, this is coming more into people really want to find time. And the two things are always like, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, or I don't have money. It's like, well, where does money come in? Because you can work out at home. So it's more psychological, and the time, when you think about people who have done amazing things in the world, Winston Churchill, I'm just throwing names out there, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, whoever you want to think of, Martin Luther King Jr., scientists, Albert, what do they all have in common? We all have 24 hours in the day. They didn't have 26 or 27. We all have the same clock. So you can fit in fitness in your life. It can. And I know people think, yeah, but then I've got the kids and I've got this and I've got, okay, let's look at really your schedule. And then we find the mechanics of how it can work.
Mm,
If it's like 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes lunchtime, take a break, 10 minutes at night, let's shave a few things off the schedule. Let's prioritize. And I find that people that want to be coaches, because they're ready. It's like, all right, that's it. I'm tired of the muffin top, or I'm tired of not feeling energetic. I'm tired of the excuses. And if they're not ready, you can't pull them in. You can't.
mm.
Um, I think you have found that too. Either somebody really wants to win that marathon or that triathlon, or they're just kind of in and out, and they just want to maybe join a group for a while and then they quit. Mentally, it's like you finally decide, all right, how do I want to be for the rest of my life? I'm not going to be on the face of the earth, as far as I know, 150 years. How do I want to feel every day? How do I want to feel when I wake up in the morning? How do I want to feel when I'm naked? It's not about how you look. It's about how you feel, I mean, one of my motivators, I want to look naked with the lights on in front of my husband. That may be surface, but what is the emotion behind that? It's not really that you want to look good naked. It's like, well, how do you feel when you're okay with your body?
Mm-hmm.
What is that feeling? It's like, I'm a worthwhile, worthy, valuable human being. From my tissues to my DNA to my skin and to what I think and how I feel, I'm a valuable person. Look at me. It's feeling worthy and not hiding. That's the emotional thing behind it. So it's worthwhile. It comes back to the forefront of, as you're aging, really feel valuable. It's okay that you have your jowls and your wrinkles showing your experience in life. It's okay to have that. It's how you feel that counts in my perspective. And if looking good makes you feel good, yes, that's part of it. I think that's wonderful. So back to nutrition, we also have to start looking at that. Okay, what is wrong with your nutrition? Some people just don't eat healthy because they don't know what healthy is. They think a Jamba Juice is healthy, no offense. Have you seen the amount of sugar in Jamba Juice and how many calories? I
Sugar
disagree
bomb.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a total sugar bomb. So start looking at what is truly healthy and what our definition will be of that. What is good for your particular body, depending on your issues or medical issues or your weight or whatever it is. And then there's also the emotional aspect. I found out one lady just overate because she lives alone. And because of this COVID time, she couldn't be with her her adult daughter and her grandson like she used to be. And she doesn't live with anybody. So dinner time could last 3 hours. And you're sitting in front of that couch watching TV. So we finally realized she doesn't like eating alone. She went off to Arrowhead with her daughter, invited her finally when they had they've been vaccinated. Went with them for 3 weeks. She started to lose weight. Now she's on a roll with me because we found out I was eating dinner and then dinner was over. We put the dishes in the dishwasher. We played, we watched TV together, whatever. They took walks in the morning. She was around people. So that was her emotional things. She didn't realize she just always ate alone. So it would be extended. So now she's lost 40 pounds. Yes. And it's not because I increased her workouts. It's we tried 3 diets with her in the past 3 years. She would always quit. So now we've got her on a buddy system. I'm like, why don't we find you a buddy? Because she doesn't want a roommate. So we found her a buddy system. Her buddy and her check in on each other during the day. Are you logging your calories? And they don't make a big deal out of it. That's another thing. So don't make a big deal. If you choose a plan, do it with joy. You've got control now. And so they check in on each other and they started talking right after dinner. It doesn't have to be that long. It could be 10 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, but they're chatting. So now my client is looking forward to her chat with her friend. So that kind of ends. It's the bookend to her dinner because she knows she's going to get on the phone or Zoom with her friend who lives back east, by the way. And then that's it. The dishes were put away. And if she has one little snack, it's not like that whole dinner extended. And she felt like she had contact with somebody. But everybody has their own issue of why they eat. Maybe it's mindless, or maybe they think, well, we're celebrating this. I'll just have this big piece of cake because they think that's joyful. Or, well, everybody else is eating and why not? I'm going to enjoy life. I'm going to have this big piece of cake, or I'm going to keep eating these Doritos or whatever. Okay, let's look at the emotions behind that. Why do you think that's joyful? And then you can get onto the reasons why you eat how you eat. And some people are just plain addicted to certain things. This sugar and fat. So you have to find out the reasons for if you're not eating for yourself in a healthy way. We have to find out what's unhealthy in your diet and then work into that. Because you also have to have something that's sustainable. That's why I don't like these little yo-yo fad diets. Really, are you going to live that way the rest of your life? But it's good if you get on board with a certain nutritional plan, whether it's primal health, whether it's keto, whether it's paleo, whether it's Noom, whether it's points, whatever it is. Yeah, that can get you on the right track. But you have to look at why you were overeating, putting more calories in your body than it needs, and deal with that to sustain you for the rest of your life. I don't know what you think about that. What do you think about that?
Well said. I think going back to the changing lifestyle circumstances with the global pandemic, um, we get caught up in, hey, don't blame that. That's no excuse. You can do it, but it's a change. And a change is difficult to adjust to. Now we've been in it for a while. We know how wonderful some of the potential adjustments can be, such as skipping the commuting time and the nonsense in the office and having more time to work out, more time to prepare healthy meals, all this great stuff that can come out of it, more awareness of the importance of having a strong aerobic and immune system to fight off potential invaders. Yeah. Okay. So all this is great, but let's still acknowledge that people were forced to make a huge, massive change. And now it's about time that we kick into gear and do these wonderful little tidbits like calling someone up after dinner. I love that, especially if you're feeling isolated and have a tendency to drag on for 3 hours. So it seems like little things can go a long way sometimes. And I'd love for you to talk about your morning routine because, that's one of my favorite subjects. I've put this thing into place now for 4 years running, and it's been absolutely life-changing for me because I'm not a pattern or a routine type of guy. But now this thing anchors my day every single day. And it's so amazing to transition from, let's say, a well-intentioned goal where I go and do something and say, that was great. I'm going to try to do it again tomorrow. And all of a sudden, looking back now, where this streak means a lot to me. I can't miss a day because I got so much going. And I mentioned it in public, so that helps me too. But now it's transitioned into pure habit to where if I don't do this super elaborate and quite difficult morning routine, I feel like my day's been thrown off. And I wonder if you've had some similar success with your own thing that you mentioned, especially working up to it from a small commitment to doing 100 push-ups as super chick. I mean, that's like A+ category. I don't know anybody that can do that. So tell me about that and just the little changes that turn into big life-changing.
Well, I love what you said, that it's anchored you. It's anchored you. Think of if have you ever worked a text box? And you know how a text box, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. When you're working on a Word document and you want to put a text box, it anchors people that work.
Like a comment
anchors
box
where your
or
text
something.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's true. It anchors you. That's why it's habit stacking, little habit stacking, and do it with joy. The thing that people don't like, human beings, and I know I'm broad brushing, but we as human beings are so resistant to change. It's fight or flight, but that's only when we're pushed to. Either we fight it, we take it on, or we flee. But little things that we've become used to, oh my God, people are so resistant until something just hits them. It's like, okay, fight or flight. Why am I going to change? And usually it's a medical condition or their doctor tells them to, or you got to quit smoking, you got to whatever. But people are so resistant to change. So instead of looking at that, like I said, you're not born out of your mother's womb knowing something or the metabolism. You're also not born with habits. Your mom gives you certain habits. Of course, as a baby, you're naturally hungry because you're void. Feed me, my body needs food. Okay. But then we start developing habits according to how we're raised. Would you go for a week without brushing your teeth, Brad?
Not likely.
Yeah. That's a habit and it's good for us. Or flossing. I know a lot of people, but you get used to it. You make it a habit. So habit stack, and people talk about their morning rituals. Whatever that is for you, wake up and pray or meditate, journal, whatever it is you have to do. As long as it's not a chore and it brings you joy, do what brings you joy. I'm not a morning meditator because I keep thinking I have things to do. So I found that out about myself. Some people are, and they love that quietness in the morning, and that's when they meditate. I have found I meditate better when I do it, when I know it's only short. It's only like 5 minutes. The most I ever have meditated is like 15. I made it to hour-long group meditations, but just for myself, I like after I've taken care of everyone and I've worked out right before I go shower in the evening, because I work out in the evening. I can meditate for 5 minutes at night, and it's an awesome way to wind down. So back to habits. Like you, I think that's awesome. You took it on more as a positive thing rather than like, oh, really? Because I'm not a habitual kind of person. My thing was just silly. It's like, I can do 50 push-ups. I'll just work up to it. But that was my goal. It was just 50 because everybody said that's a marker of being healthy. So I was like, well, I can get up to 50. And then once I reached 50, I'm like, I'm going to keep going. And I didn't go for 100. I went let me see if I can do 52. And after I could do 52 for a while, let me see if I can go to 56. And then once I got to 60, like, I'm good, but what the heck, I'll keep it going. So I just kept it going to prove to myself that I could. And I even have tendonitis in the elbows, and I kept doing it. But so I asked people, how about this? If you're really averse to working out or whatever, how about in the morning, you just set 1 minute before you brush your teeth, before you feed the dog, please don't look at your email. And for God's sake, don't get on Instagram or Facebook because you'll go down rabbit holes. 1 minute, and don't allow yourself more. Set the timer, do some calisthenics. I don't care if it's toe touches, crunches, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, air squats, whatever. Just do some calisthenics and then stretch. Set the timer and don't let yourself go over that. If you do that every day, every single day for 40 days, oh my God, Brad, you've got to have it. Because your mind is rewired. It's like, well, this is part of what I do in the morning. Of course, some people do have to walk their dog or you've got a problem, but set your morning ritual. And by the way, walking the dog, that's the name of my next book. People say when I ask them, do you do cardio? How do you work out? Well, I walk the dog. I'm like, well, that's great for the dog, but what about you? Walking the dog is not enough. It's great that you do it, but that's not your workout. And I know people hate hearing that, especially when they first start. Yeah, you can incorporate that in being active, and being active is important. Moving, get off that chair and move, but it is not a workout. So for habit stacking, I have trained myself that I work out every single day without fail, even if it's just 20 minutes, even if it's just 30 minutes. Not how long you work out. With me, it's what muscles do I hit? I hit maybe 2 muscles, 3 tops. I hit a muscle group. Done. Next day, I hit another muscle group. Done. I hit every muscle in my body at least twice a week. So I'm not spending an hour or 2 hours working out, whether it's at the gym or at home. But that's me. I help people find what will work for them. And I like the morning ritual, even if you're not a morning person. They get on Clubhouse, they listen to something, a podcast, 1 minute turns into 2 minutes, turns to 3, but then I tell them walk away. That's it. It should just be like brushing your teeth. So if everything else goes to heck the rest of the day and something happened and you just didn't get to work out, at least you did a little morning calisthenics. You did something physical for your body.
Right. And that low bar, that 1 minute, that laughably short commitment is a super important point. John Assaraf, bestselling author, brain training expert, author of Inner Size, he says that when you set these really ridiculously easy incremental goals, you tend to continue to escalate your commitment, like you mentioned with your push-ups, where you went for 52 instead of going from 50 to 100 and feeling discouraged. And we need buy-in from the emotional brain. That's another really important point he makes, and also Mark Manson in The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, where we really are ruled by our emotions, even though our critical thinking, rational brain thinks that we're not. The emotional brain is what motivates us to take action. And so when something really does feel good on the spot, because it's only 1 minute and you can congratulate yourself for a job well done without feeling stressed and anxious that you're falling behind on your busy day, then you're so much more likely to truly make it an enjoyable and long-lasting habit that also sounds good to your rational brain, the one that wrote it in a notebook on January 1st saying, I want to do morning workouts now, and I'll go for 30 minutes. And it sounds so good on paper, but the emotional brain has not, given sufficient buy-in, and that's why you forgot about it by February 15th. So I think when we can blend those together.
Yeah. And why did you buy into that? Because you have evidence. You did it for a minute. You walked away. You have evidence. Yeah. And we as humans need that evidence. Like, I can buy into this now. I have evidence. I can do it every morning. And you're more likely, once you start feeling a little better, to want more. And it turns into you're not going to skip that workout in the middle of the day or at the end of the day. You want a little more because you see like, well, I felt good this morning. I have yet to meet anyone, Brad. And if you have, let me know. I have yet to meet anyone who, even if they feel a little sore or something after the workout, a lot of people say, I can't make myself go work out. Even them, I have never met anyone who, as soon as they finish their workout, regret it. I don't know anyone who regrets at the end of their workout. Like, I really shouldn't have done that. Well, that didn't bring me anything, or I'm really pissed off at myself. Everybody feels that sense of accomplishment, whether it's 10 minutes or 30 minutes, or you spent an hour there. And I find that most people spend an hour because they don't know what they're doing. They're wandering around a gym. They don't know which machine to use and have to wait for people, or they're on their phone texting in between sets. You don't have to spend that much time working out,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Now, for you, I mean, you have a goal and maybe you're training for something. Yes, those workouts take longer. If you're training to swim longer or more laps or whatever. Yes, those kind of things, of course. But just regular workouts don't have to take that long. Although I do always say, people say, well, how long should I work out? I'm like, well, how long will it take you to do 3 sets of this? It doesn't matter. You time
Mm.
yourself, focus. It can take you 10 minutes. Maybe it'll take somebody else 20. So don't go by that. Go about whatever your trainer, if you get a trainer or however you think is good for your body. If you're doing minute intervals, like I'm going to do a minute of biceps, whatever, there are different plans. So whatever your plan calls for, it's not how long you work out when you do strength training. It's like, how long does it take you to do? And that's up to you.
Mm.
And then of course, if you're doing cardio, it is length of time. So that's a different story. That's the personal trainer in me. But really, it is habit stacking, and you will only buy in once you prove it to yourself. So start small, but keep going because consistency is key, and get support. That's the other thing.
Mm.
Don't be afraid to tell other people, I'm going to go work out. And if you have friends who'll go, oh, well, yeah, you can work out tomorrow. Well, yeah, that's for tomorrow. I'll work out. This is for today. Engage, enroll your family, your friends, your support to support you. You know, when you go out to dinner, don't let them like shame you, like, oh, well, you can't have a cake. I'm going to have a sliver of cake and I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to have my glass of wine. I'm going to enjoy it. But if they want to pour you more, it's like, I'm good.
Mm.
And I asked you for support, support me.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
also support other people, because when you support other people, it really, really, you know how when you teach somebody, you learn it again? Because when you're in the middle of teaching something, you saying it and showing it and like in a lesson, if you're a teacher, it kind of instilled in your brain even more. So when you support other people, it really makes you feel that much stronger and that you can do it too.
Yeah. And don't take any crap for following a healthy path, because I think a lot of times people get shamed for having their extreme diet and, oh, look at you, you're no fun, you passed on the slice of cake. I think we need to embrace both sides of that, where everybody's allowed to make their own choices and feel good about it.
And you know, don't. Well, I shouldn't say don't. Do whatever you want. It's
Right.
neutral. It's
Here's
neutral.
a
If
tip.
somebody is trying to give you peer pressures because they feel like you're making them look bad, like, oh, well, okay, I'm going to have the piece of cake and really, it's a reflection of them, of what they consider fun and joyful, and eat this cake, damn it. And too bad we're giving cake a bad name, but
This
also,
show is not sponsored by Betty Crocker. And here we go back to the
but
show.
also just say, oh no, I enjoy it. You know, tell the people, go back to them like, no, 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 enjoy it. It's just I'm really on this path of not eating too much refined sugar. Enjoy yourself. I'm glad you are. And I ask you as my friend, as my brother, whatever, support me in it, and then change the subject. Just totally
Good.
change the subject.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you're never going to win them over. If they're showing a reflection on you or trying to peer pressure you, it's their own thing. But it doesn't do you any good to fight them or start lecturing them on your diet or whatever. Just go, yeah, but I'm going to have fun dancing naked in front of my mirror tonight. Tell you that.
What's
You know,
up?
come up with something.
Oh boy. Let's get into some tips and tricks for aging females, whatever the age group is, but your expertise is with your nearby peer group and women that want to kind of transition from their prime or their childbearing years, or whatever the story is in the life timeline. But going down that road, what are some things that you've seen that have worked really well across the board, whether it's diet or mindset changes, exercise regimens?
Well, acceptance, first of all. And second of all, just as pregnant women have taught me, because I've started training and I am certified for prenatal, during pregnancy and postnatal, even though billions of women in the world have had babies, each pregnancy is so unique. Every woman goes through her own thing. So there's no cookie cutter way for aging women other than be your own. This is the main thing. This is the big umbrella. Be your own health advocate. You get a team around you of whatever you need, and don't just go to the doctors and accept like, oh, well, you're stressed. Oh, well, you're overworked. Oh, you've got too much. No, 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 no. If something's aching or ailing, get to the bottom of it, and don't be just told that, oh, well, you're busy, relax, or you just need less on your plate. Or you're just busy, you're a busy mom, whatever. don't accept that if you have something physical. Maybe it is psychosomatic. Maybe it is stressful. Find out. Get a good team around you. I just find so many women, they go to the doctor and it's like, well, did you ask this? Did you ask that? No. It's hard when you go to a professional because they're the authority. It's hard to think of other things to question. Get to the bottom of it. Get a second opinion, a third opinion, a fourth opinion. Because, and I have a friend whose shoulder hurt for years, and her doctors just kept saying, well, there's nothing wrong with it. Just strengthen your core and keep strength training. I'm like, well, it's not normal for your shoulder to hurt and you can't push it back. It's just not normal. You've got to find out. You've got to get to the bottom of it. So it's the main thing is being your own self-advocate. And I know that the medical system or our healthcare in this country is a mess. We're not going to go down that road, but it's like you're begging for help and yet you're paying out the wazoo for insurance, and yet you have to beg them to pay. You've got your co-payment, and then you're still begging them to cover things. I can't stand that. But don't back off from asking your doctor questions, from asking your chiropractor questions, from seeing more than just a chiropractor and see an orthopedic. Don't be, like you said, don't be pressured by your peer group or your family into eating that piece of cake that we made famous now. Don't be pressured by your doctor to see another doctor. Don't worry what they're going to think. It's not their body. It's your body. It's your health. Don't worry about insulting your chiropractor or your podiatrist if you see another kind of specialist, a holistic specialist, an acupuncturist, whatever. It's your body, your health. Ask as many people as you can questions. You have a right and you have a responsibility for your health. I mean, you've only got one body. Why would you nurture so many people, your children, your grandchildren, your husband, your wife, your spouse, your friend? Why do you nurture everyone and you wouldn't nurture yourself? I mean, that doesn't make sense. Take care of yourself. So also, as we're aging, we really have to look at hormones. That's huge. Get a DEXA scan, a bone scan. See how your bone density is doing, especially after 40 and 50. See how you're doing, not just the vitals, your yearly exam, but look at your DEXA scan, look at your hormone levels. And if your doctor asks you why, it's like, because I want to know, get a blood workup. Also, don't accept just that, oh, well, you're getting older. Well, okay, but why do I hurt? Get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, we're so uncomfortable in that role.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I think one of it's that it's kind of an intimidating environment when you're going to see a physician in the tall building with all the ceremony around it, and they're dispensing, for example, diet advice, which really bothers me when they don't necessarily have any training or awareness of anything relating to healthy eating or healthy living, but they're in a position of authority. Same with someone on television who's a personality who's producing a program on health, and so they have a platform. And now we're really compelled to sift through what makes sense and what doesn't, and apply it personally. But that example of going through the medical system with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder and a little bit of swagger to say, okay, thank you very much, and I'll give you my answer in 1 week after I consult with 3 other people just like you. Yeah. People are extremely uncomfortable doing that. And I've told the story on my show where I laid at home ignoring the pain because I wanted to be a tough guy instead of a wussy boy, while my appendix burst and I turned in, a minor medical procedure turned into a major medical ordeal just because I wanted to tough it out rather than go the extra mile and ask for more care and consideration in the emergency room. And it's just a kind of a reflection on my background, my belief system. I'm not a big fan of the medical system, so I don't need to engage in every single level and take all the pills that they want me to take and do all the tests. But when you need it and when something's wrong, and I think that's a big one that we could kind of emphasize on the show here, when something's wrong, don't walk away until you get to the very bottom of it, because boy, sometimes you can avert a disaster when things kind of carry on without knowing what's going on.
Yeah. And so I'm not against Western medicine. My dad was a doctor. My mom was an RN. But I do believe in looking at everything and understanding it. And not just accepting a prescription. I myself don't like to take medicine because I don't like how it feels in my stomach. One, I'm not against it. If you need medicine, take the damn medicine. But I don't think that that's the only answer. And I'm not popping Advil and Tylenol all the time. I personally don't like that. And so I try to eat as clean and have as much preventative medicine as possible. That said, I like to merge the two and really look at what is best for me. And that's, as a health and fitness coach, that's what I do. I try to find out what's your lifestyle, what are your medical issues, what have you tried, what has not worked, and we try to find out why. And then you fit the right plan for you for a lifestyle. So when people ask me, should I do keto? Should I do paleo? Should I do Mediterranean? Yes, yes, yes. Which one are you really going to do? Which one are you going to do? And which one do you like? And then we'll go from there. And is it good for your body? Good for your mind? Whatever. Or do you have brain fog? So, like I said, every diet in the world works if you do it. You have to find the right nutritional plan for you. The other thing is, you said people feel intimidated. They really, really do. Take somebody with you. Take somebody with you to your doctor. Take somebody with you to your naturopath. And don't just buy into the first plan that sounds good. People are so desperate to lose weight or to feel better that they just see an infomercial or see a Facebook ad and boom, they buy it. They're talked into it. Really research it. Do your due diligence and ask a lot of questions. You have a right. So when people ask me, are you an advocate for this or that? It's like, well, it depends. Let's look at it. And I used to be so against detoxes and cleanses because I thought, well, that's just ridiculous. Your own pancreas, your own liver is your own detox. But then I started looking into certain detoxes per se and cleanses, and some are very valid, but it depends what you want to do. It depends on your end goal. And like, I totally believe in primal health for the most part, but if, reverse engineer it, Ronnie, and I'm not saying it's good for everybody. I don't need to give up cheese and I don't need to give up nuts. So I'm not going to give up cheese, but maybe you should. And this is why. You have to find out why, and I'm a dairy girl. It doesn't bother me at all. So I'm not saying, well, that's just ridiculous. You don't have to give up dairy just because I drink half and half and eat cheese. It's like, let's find out what's right for you. People really have to look into what works for them and why, and don't just take the first word of the doctor.
Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about females, anti-aging strategies, the first thing that you mentioned was acceptance. Yeah. And let's pick it up there and then maybe throw on some other ones. But I like that starting point.
Well, I had to really accept, like, oh my God, I'm really aging. When I started looking at pictures. So I started, where did those wrinkles come from? Dang. Because I still see myself as a 20-year-old. So really accept yourself and just think, yeah, I'm wearing all my experiences and my laughs on my face. If you want to do something about aesthetics, that's up to you. There's nothing wrong with it. Everybody has their own thing. But really accept it. If you choose to do some kind of aesthetic cosmetic procedure on your face, on your tummy, whatever, look into why. What's the emotional feeling behind that? And then if you still want to do it, let's go for it. There's nothing wrong with Botox. I don't do it because I'm deathly afraid of a needle near my face. So that's my only reason. I don't even tweeze my eyebrows because I can't stand that pain. It's like a barbell hitting me, no problem. Tweezers, get away from me. It's so ridiculous, I cry at a paper cut. But do what's right for you. Find out why. What's the emotional reason behind it first before you make any decision. The other thing is, like I said, be your own health advocate. And the third thing is look at your hormones. Look at your hormones. Look at your hormones. What are you eating and what medicines are right for you and what don't you need? And help others. I know that sounds a little woo-woo, but if you're helping others with their health, what happens?
You turn into a role model. You have a built-in sense of accountability.
Yeah. So it's not just ordering your kids to wash their hair and brush their teeth. It's like, all right, tell your friend, tell your family, how about if we try this as a dish? And people have been doing this during this pandemic. They're cooking now and they're eating healthier. And if you explain why this is better than this, you've got a reason. You can't just say because I said so, or just because that's what mom is going to cook. It's like, well, this is better than this, and this is why. So let's try it. And a lot of kids will go along with it. A lot of families will go along with it. And also if somebody's having a problem, maybe they need somebody to go with them to the doctor. Tell your friend, I'll go with you. Because 4 ears and 4 eyes are better than 2 and 2, because maybe they'll think of asking questions you didn't ask, that kind of thing. Be there for your buddy who wants to eat well and clean. Support them. Maybe join a support group. Maybe start walking with a group. Maybe start working out with a group. Support them in their decisions. When you start supporting other people, all of a sudden you don't do that stupid stuff, and you work out yourself and you eat cleaner yourself because you're walking the talk and you're helping other people. So it's reinforcing it.
Right.
So
Heightened awareness through repetition. And boy, it seems to be really helpful for me because when you talk about something every day, it just kind of becomes part of your life. It oozes in there,
yeah.
as opposed to looking on your bookshelf and all these great books that you've read and you were so inspired when you read it and then you closed it and put it back on the shelf. So I think we have to, have it be a constant quest. And what about in the gym, Ronnie? When again, let's isolate on the anti-aging strategy for the female. So we're not going for the CrossFit games. We're not going for the college athletic experience, but it seems to me that there's a lot of people just spending time on the cardio machines, watching TV, reading their book, listening to their thing, maybe intimidated by the strength training aspect of the experience. Maybe that's a female generalization, but I also see a lot of people just scratching the surface or having a narrow fitness experience rather than something broader. So maybe we could look at some of those points.
Well, yeah, I mean, cardio is important because think about it. Your heart is a muscle, but you can't take it out of your body and pump weight, right? So you need to work your cardiovascular system to get oxygen in, the volume of oxygen in. You need to work your cardiovascular. Absolutely. Your flexibility, your core strength. By the way, doing crunches is not core. So, and no amount of crunches is going to get rid of that belly fat. That's just strengthening the abs underneath. Think of a sumo wrestler. They have some of the strongest abs in the world, but they need their belly fat for their sport. So burning fat comes from working your muscles, as you know. And there are three different ways of working it: endurance, and then there's the static core strength of that muscle, and then there's the power. So when you work your muscles, this is important. Yes, the treadmill is great, but when you get off that treadmill or when you get off that recumbent bike where it says you burn 250 calories or 600 calories, whatever, it's awesome if you burn 600. I mean, you really did a workout. But if you're just doing the 200, 300 and you're on there for half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, you get off that machine and you don't burn anymore. Maybe a little afterburn. Depends how intense you went back and forth, hit. Like you go from upper level, lower level, upper level, lower level as you're doing your cardio. But for the most part, people don't. You watch them, like you said, they're watching TV or listening to something and they're at the same pace and they think they did great. And yes, you did something, but you also have to put strength training in there, not so that you'll be buff, but you will in the end get cut because your muscles say, I need energy. So your body reaches a certain point that, okay, I've already taken enough glycogen out of your body needs it, your brain needs it. So now I'm going to burn the second source of energy, which is fat. And you burn that fat for 1 or 2 days, 24 to 48 hours, you're burning fat because your muscles say, okay, I need nutrition, I need energy. So your metabolism kicks in and says, okay, let me feed you. So that's why you need to strength train as you get older. The older you get, you need more strength training because we lose muscle mass as we age. Now, again, muscle mass doesn't mean big and bulky. It just means that you're replacing the muscle mass that you're losing. So we need that for our metabolism, and our metabolism regulates our hormones, or they are hormones, and that regulates your entire health. So really the tips at the gym is if you don't know how to work out and get off the machines. Machines are a great complement, but use the free weights, use the dumbbells, use the cable machines, use the resistance band, learn how to use the TRX, but get a personal trainer, even if it's just for a short time, and learn how to use strength training. If it's at home, do it at home properly. Don't just follow any YouTube you find. Do it properly. I'm not putting down YouTubers. It's just that I have logged on. I don't know if you have. And I've watched some of these home workouts this year. It's like, oh my God, no, don't do that. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I hope people aren't following this person. They just like turn on the camera and start working out. They didn't even warm up for their knees or whatever. And not everybody can do all that. If you can CrossFit at 60, go for it. But you don't need to CrossFit every day. That's horrible.
Mm.
If you can CrossFit and bodybuild and all that, whatever age, go for it. But get proper coaching and training. Two different things. A trainer is not a coach. A coach is not a trainer. All right. So get the right kind of help and support, and then follow the right channel if you're not going to pay a trainer every time.
Mm.
So be educated. But you need strength training. Just doing the same thing day in, day out isn't going to cut it. And you need to work your muscles to regulate your hormones. I'm going to repeat that 20,000 times. We all need it. It also de-stresses you. As you know, our
Mm.
body doesn't know if it's getting stressed because of mental issues or of anxiety or because of your body. in the body, stress is stress. Stress is stress, and your body reacts to that. So that's why you have to take care of yourself in spirit, in mind, and physically, because stress is stress inside your body, and your body just reacts to stress.
Right. You get better at managing stress through managing the stress of exercise. And you make a great point there about getting expert help. And I'm aware of an entire category of human that don't think they're serious enough or hardcore enough to need a personal trainer. They just get in their car, drive to the gym, get their towel, and jump on the bike, or even go over and pull some cables and do some weights. But I've had some incredible experiences, just one off, like hiring a trainer for one workout because I don't live in that same town, and someone referred me, and it's been life changing because I take all that instruction and I go back and do my next 37 workouts with much more intention and correct technique. And I have a relationship with my high jump coach where I send him videos in addition to meeting in person once in a while. So if it's like a budget concern or a self-belief that you're not that serious of an athlete, let's put a plug in together to go and get a trainer for one workout and bring a voice recorder or something. But it can be so wonderful and so affordable for so many people that are going and working out on their own without understanding that they might have muscular imbalances or things that need correction, whereby the work they're putting in can be ineffective. And I come from the triathlon scene, and I coached for many years. And I would coach some adult swimmers whose technique was so poor that after a couple laps, I had to say, look, you probably shouldn't do any more swimming until you completely break down and refine your technique, because every time you practice this technique, you refine the bad technique. So it's more difficult to change. So,
Wow,
boy,
that is eye-opening.
yeah,
I will one up you. I
yeah.
always say get at least three. Three has been the magic number for
Right.
me for
Good. Yeah.
sessions.
3 sessions with the trainer so they can get to
Because the
know
first
you. Yeah.
session, you're getting to know each other's personality, and trainers really see like your character, like if you're resisting or you're defensive or you're too scared to talk or whatever. We get to know your personality, which has a lot to do with it. But we also assess you. We're watching out for things, even if you think we're just standing there or placing your knee in the right way. We're really assessing your strengths and weaknesses and posture and form. And I notice things like, boom, oh, what's up with your shoulder? Why is it lower than the other one? Or, oh,
Mm.
have you ever hurt here? And people discover things about themselves that they wouldn't have thought of. So 3 to me has been the magic number, because once we see you in that first session, kind of get to know your personality, if you ask a lot of questions or you do too much talking or whatever, and what you will like and what you will dislike, because I'm not going to give somebody something to do that they're just not going to, they hate it. You know what I mean? And then the next 2 sessions, like, boom, we fly. I know what to do with you.
Mm.
And then they know, and you know, if it's a good fit and if you will continue, or for budget reasons. But at least you give them something to take away with them. It's like, this is what I've noticed from you. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to focus on. Whatever it may be. It may be like you've got a really bad lower back, or have you ever looked into this? Whatever it is, you diagnose them, you give them something to take away. Usually people continue, but even if they don't, wow, you gave them a lot in those 3 sessions, and especially those 2 workouts. But I just found that 3 is the magic number. And it's also, it feels kind of good because you're dating. It's like, let's just do 3 sessions, because a lot of trainers at the big box gyms, like, you got to buy the 50 pack and all this. It's like, you know what? Let's just go for 3 sessions. And people are always surprised. I'm like, yeah, because then you don't feel like you have a long-term commitment. Who wants to commit right off of Match.com for life? Or, for 50 dates? You just want to commit to maybe the first coffee, and then maybe a second meet and greet, and then a real date. You know what I mean? It's like you got to date first. You got to romance and see if you're a good fit if you want to continue on that 4th date. So I always find that 3 is the magic number, way better than 1, because 1, a trainer does feel rushed and like they got to pack a lot in.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. And maybe it'll be one of those things that turns into a habit where you feel like you're in a good groove. And certainly as far as budget priorities go, and if anyone who gives the excuse they can't afford it, let's get out their credit card charges and see how much they've spent on frivolous things that we're all seeming is normal in life here. Ronnie, this has been fun. You're real, you're full of energy and all kinds of different topics. So it's been a nice chat, and I'd love to finish by hearing about your interest in fasting and that program that you have going to kind of combine.
Yeah, I'm going to have a live show on intermittent fasting. I'm not advocating it. I'm not pushing it, and I'm certainly not selling it. And you, Brad Kearns, has agreed. My grammar has agreed to be on it. I'm so excited because I want 5 experts in different areas of intermittent fasting. The reason I'm having it is because I asked a lot of my clients, and then I also surveyed about 50 people. Would you like to learn more about intermittent fasting? Because people ask me about it all the time. It's like, well, there's 7 different types. They're like, what? They're always surprised. There's 7 different types, and there are 3 main types, and it's time intervals. People are always asking me about that. So I said, do you want to hear about intermittent fasting, or do you want to hear about paleo and keto? Because I get that all the time. Or do you want to hear about mindset? Because a lot of my clients talk about, well, I have no time. Well, is it really time, or is it mindset? Time and mindset almost won, but the people that wanted to know about intermittent fasting won out by 3 votes in the survey. And then 1 more voted the next day. But it's still, I was really surprised. People really want to know what the heck it is. So we're going to hold a live show April 30th. And if you see this after April 30th, I'm sure I'll have a replay. But I just want to bring clarity, intermittent fasting myths and facts, get clarity on different types and how each could work for you, or if any of them would work for you. And we're going to have the basics, and you're going to be on it. And I'm really excited. I'm going to have somebody else that's just talking about food, what kind of dishes you can make while you're intermittent fasting. I'm having another guy who said, do you mind if I talk about, hey, maybe it's not for you, and kind of deflect it. And this is why. It's like, go for it, because we need to find out what it is and why it may not be for you and your lifestyle and your diet. And I have somebody else coming on that I'm really excited. She works with women. This is, as you have seen, my thing, hormones. And so she works with a lot of women, especially aging 40, 50, perimenopausal, menopause, postmenopausal. But hormones also talks into if you have any issues with type 2 diabetes, with your thyroid, any hormonal issue. And we all do. Women lose testosterone too. We lose estrogen as well. So, and for men as well, you go through, we have menopause, you have andropause. So she's going to talk about how to use intermittent fasting in line with your hormonal changes. So I'm really excited. We have 5 different experts talking about different subtopics. That's April 30th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So add 3 hours of your Eastern time. And if you want to find out about it, please find me, Ronnie Lowe, RONNIELOA on Instagram. I'm in Clubhouse. Go to Hey Ronnie Fitness Coach, Hey Ronnie Fitness Coach on Facebook. Give me your email and I will send you an invitation, because it's going to only be 2 hours. I'm kind of webinared out where you're invited to a 6-hour webinar and I start multitasking. 2 hours, interactive, live Q&A, hold people like you, Brad, hold your feet to the fire, ask you questions about what you just presented. And so you can ask and present your own questions. I'm really excited about that because I'm bringing a subject that people have been asking me about. I want to bring clarity and information.
Ronnie Lowe, connect with her, people. Thank you for listening to the show. That's a wrap. Da, 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 da. Thank you for listening to the show. I love sharing the experience with you and greatly appreciate your support. Please email podcast@bradventures.com with feedback, suggestions, and questions for the Q&A shows. Subscribe to our email list at bradkearns.com for a weekly blast about the published episodes and a wonderful bi-monthly newsletter edition with informative articles and practical tips for all aspects of healthy living. You can also download several awesome free ebooks when you subscribe to the email list. And if you could go to the trouble to leave a 5 or 5-star review with Apple Podcasts or wherever else you listen to the shows, that would be super incredibly awesome. It helps raise the profile of the B-Rad podcast and attract new listeners. And did you know that you can share a show with a friend or loved one by just hitting a few buttons in your player and firing off a text message? My awesome podcast player called Overcast allows you to actually record a soundbite excerpt from the episode you're listening to and fire it off with a quick text message. Thank you so much for spreading the word. And remember, be rad.